Morning or good afternoon or maybe even good evening. It's Jono here to talk about the greenhouse effect and greenhouse gases for your GCSE chemistry exam. Important topic and also important for life in general and for what's going on in the world. So let's dive into it and talk about the greenhouse effect. So greenhouse gases bring about the greenhouse effect. This helps keep the Earth warm enough for life. However, the greenhouse effect can cause global warming if it becomes too strong. The process behind the greenhouse effect is, firstly, the sun emits short wavelength infrared radiation that enters the atmosphere and travels towards the Earth's surface. The Earth absorbs some of this radiation, but long wavelength radiation is reflected back into the atmosphere. So that's long wave, which is reflected back. Greenhouse gases can't absorb the frequency of radiation emitted by the sun, but they can absorb the longer wavelength radiation. The gases then re-radiate this energy in all directions, including back towards the Earth. This increases the temperature of the Earth's surface. So let's recap that. Infrared radiation is emitted by the sun. The shorter wavelength radiation is absorbed by the Earth. Longer wavelength radiation reflects off the Earth's surface and back into space. It's absorbed by greenhouse gases, and this longer wavelength radiation is re-radiated in all directions. Okay? Now, how do human activities and greenhouse gases relate? Well, certain human activities cause the atmospheric concentration of greenhouse gases to increase. Landfill sites are the first thing we're going to talk about. The number and size of them is vastly increasing. This means that more amounts of waste are decomposing. Decomposition releases methane, and methane is a greenhouse gas. Deforestation. Fewer trees means less photosynthesis, and if you've been keeping up with the series, you should know that photosynthesis removes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. If you're a bit rusty on that, make sure you check it out. Next, we're going to talk about burning fossil fuels. This releases carbon in the form of carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, and we are releasing carbon that's been locked up for millions of years. Next, we're going to talk about agriculture. Farm animals like cows, they release methane during digestion. So animals release methane during digestion. So let's recap some of the things we've just talked about. Let's start with deforestation. This increases the atmospheric concentration of greenhouse gases because there are fewer trees, and fewer trees means there's less photosynthesis, and hence there's a reduction in the removal of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So let's go over those steps of the greenhouse process again. The sun emits which kind of radiation? It emits short wavelength radiation. Greenhouse gases absorb which type? They absorb long wavelength radiation, and the Earth absorbs short wavelength radiation. So those are the key things to remember for the greenhouse process. Now, what were the 4 things to finish that humans do that release greenhouse gases? The 4 key things that you need to remember for your exam? It's agriculture, burning fossil fuels, landfill sites, and deforestation. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks for joining as ever. Keep up all the hard work for your revision. We're going to be going into even more depth in greenhouse gases in the next episode, so make sure you check it out and let me know what you think of these, and good luck with all your studies.